Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Narrated Al-Miswar bin Makhrama and Marwan, whose narrations attest each other. Allah's apostle set out at the time of Al-Hudaybiyah treaty, and when they proceeded for a distance, he said Khalid bin Al-Walid, leading the cavalry of Quraysh, constituting the front of the army, is it a place called Al-Ghamim, so take the way on the right. By Allah, Khalid did not perceive the arrival of the Muslims till the dust arising from the march of the Muslim army reached him, and then he turned back hurriedly to inform Quraysh. The Prophet ﷺ went on advancing till he reached the Thania, a mountain's way through which one would go to them. People of Quraysh, the she-camel of the Prophet ﷺ, sat down. The people tried their best to cause the she-camel to get up, but in vain. So they said, Al-Qaswa. The she-camel's name has become stubborn. Al-Qaswa has become stubborn. The people said, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, Al-Qaswa has not become stubborn, for stubbornness is not her habit, but she was stopped by him who stopped the elephant. Then he said, by the name of him in whose hands my soul is, if they, the Quraysh infidels, ask me anything which will respect the audiences of Allah, I will grant it to them. The Prophet ﷺ then rebuked the she-camel, and she got up. Then the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ changed his way till he dismounted at the farthest end of Al-Hudaybiyah at a pit, well containing a little water which the people used in small amounts, and in a short while the people used up all its water and complained to Allah's apostle Prophet Muhammad ﷺ of thirst. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ took an arrow out of his arrow case and ordered them to put the arrow in that pit. By Allah, the water started and continued sprouting out till all the people quenched their thirst and returned with satisfaction while they were still in that state. Budal bin Warqa al-Khuza, I came with some persons from his tribe Khuza, and they were the advisors of Allah's apostle, who would keep no secret from him, and were from the people of Tihama. Budal said, I left Khab bin Luay and Amir bin Luay residing at the profuse water of Al-Hudaybiyah, and they had milch camels or their women and children with them, and will wage war against you and will prevent you from visiting the Kaaba. Allah's apostle said, we have not come to fight anyone but to perform the Umrah. No doubt the war has weakened Quraysh and they have suffered great losses, so if they wish I will conclude a truce with them, during which they should refrain from interfering between me and the people, the Arab infidels other than Quraysh, and if I have victory over those infidels, Quraysh will have the option to embrace Islam as the other people do. If they wish, they will at least get strong enough to fight, but if they do not accept the truce, by Allah in whose hands my life is, I will fight with them, defending my cause till I get killed, but I am sure Allah will definitely make his cause victorious. Budal said, I will inform them of what you have said. So he set off till he reached Quraysh and said, we have come from that man Muhammad, whom we heard saying something which will disclose to you if you should like. Some of the fools among Quraysh shouted that they were not in need of this information, but the wiser among them said, relate what you heard him saying. Budal said, I heard him saying so and so, relating what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had told him. Urwa bin Masud got up and said, O people, are not you the sons? They said, yes. He added, am I not the father? They said, yes. He said, do you mistrust me? They said, no. He said, don't you know what that I invited the people of Uqas for your help, and when they refused, I brought my relatives and children and those who obeyed me to help you. They said, yes. He said, well, this man, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, has offered you a reasonable proposal. You would better accept it and allow me to meet him. They said, you may meet him. So he went to the Prophet ﷺ and started talking to him. The Prophet ﷺ told him almost the same as he had told Budal. Then Urwa said, O Muhammad, won't you feel any scruple in extirpating your relations? Have you ever heard of anyone amongst the Arabs extirpating his relatives before you. On the other hand, if the reverse should happen, nobody will aid you. For by Allah, I do not see with you dignified people, but people from various tribes who would run away, leaving you alone. Hearing that, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu abused him and said, do you say we would run and leave the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam alone? Urwa said, who is that man? They said, he is Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Urwa said to Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, by him in whose hands my life is, were it not for the favor which you did to me and which I did not compensate, I would retort you on you. Urwa kept on talking to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and seizing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's beard, and he was talking while Al-Mughira bin Shuba was standing near the head of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, holding a sword and wearing a helmet. Whenever Urwa stretched his hand towards the beard of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al-Mughira would hit his hand with the handle of the sword and say to Urwa, remove your hand from the beard of Allah's apostle Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Urwa raised his head and asked, who is that? The people said, he is Al-Mughira bin Shuba. Urwa said, O treacherous, am I not doing my best to prevent evil consequences of your treachery? Before embracing Islam, Al-Mughira was in the company of some people. He killed them and took their property and came to Medina to embrace Islam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, as regards your Islam, I accept it, but as for the property, I do not take anything of it, as it was taken through treason. Urwa then started looking at the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By Allah, whenever Allah's apostle spat, the spittle would fall in the hand of one of them. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam companions who would rub it on his face and his skin. If he ordered them, they would carry his orders immediately. If he performed ablution, they would struggle to take the remaining water, and when they spoke to him, they would lower their voices and would not look at his face constantly out of respect. Urwa returned to his people and said, O people, by Allah, I have been to the kings and to Caesar, Khuraisa and An-Najashi, yet I have never seen any of them respected by his courtiers as much as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is respected by his companions. By Allah, if he spat, the spittle would fall in the hand of one of them. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's companions who would rub it on his face and his skin. If he ordered them, they would carry out his order immediately. If he performed ablution, they would struggle to take the remaining water, and when they spoke, they would lower their voices and would not look at his face constantly. Out of respect, Urwa added, no doubt he has presented to you a good reasonable offer, so please accept it. A man from the tribe of Bani Kinana said, allow me to go to him, and they allowed him. And when he approached the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, Allah's apostle said, he is so and so, who belongs to the tribe that respect the Buddh, camels of the sacrifice, so bring the Buddh in front of him. So the Buddh were brought before him, and the people received him while they were reciting Talbiyah. When he saw that scene, he said, glorified be Allah, it is not fair to prevent these people from visiting the Kaaba. When he returned to his people, he said, I saw the Buddh garlanded with colored knotted ropes and marked with stabs on their backs. I do not think it is advisable to prevent them from visiting the Kaaba. Another person called Mikraz bin Hafs got up and sought their permission to go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they allowed him to. When he approached the Muslims, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, here is a Mikraz, and he is a vicious man. Mikraz started talking to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and as he was talking, Suhail bin Amr came. When Suhail bin Amr came, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, now the matter has become easy. Suhail said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please conclude a peace treaty with us. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called the clerk and said to him, write by the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Suhail said, as for beneficent, by Allah, I do not know what it means. So write by your name, O Allah, as you used to write previously. The Muslims said, by Allah, we will not write except by the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, write by your name, O Allah. Then he dictated, this is the peace treaty which Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah's apostle, has concluded. Suhail said, by Allah, if we knew that you are Allah's apostle, we would not prevent you from visiting the Kaaba and would not fight with you. So write Muhammad bin Abdullah. The Prophet Muhammad said, by Allah, I am apostle of Allah. Even if your people do not believe me, write Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Zuhri said. The Prophet Muhammad accepted all those things, as he had already said that he would accept everything they would demand it if it respects the ordinance of Allah. By letting him and his companions perform Umrah, the Prophet Muhammad said to Suhail, on the condition that you allow us to visit the house Kaaba, so that we may perform tawaf around it. Suhail said, by Allah, we will not allow you this year, so as not to give chance to the Prophet Muhammad say that we have yielded you to you, but we will allow you next year. So the Prophet Muhammad got that written. Then Suhail said, we also stipulate that you should return to us whoever comes to you from us, even if he embraced your religion. The Muslims said, glorified be Allah. How will such a person be returned to the pagans after he has become a Muslim? While they were in this state, Abu Jandal bin Suhail bin Amr came from the valley of Makkah, staggering with his fetters, and fell down amongst the Muslims. Suhail said, O Muhammad, this is the very first time with which we make peace with you. You shall return Abu Jandal to me. The Prophet Muhammad said, the peace treaty has not been written yet. Suhail said, I will never allow you to keep him. The Prophet Muhammad said, yes, do. He said, I won't do. Mikraz said, we allow you to keep him. Abu Jandal said, O Muslims, will I be returned to the pagans? True, I have come as a Muslim. Don't you see how much I have suffered? Continuing Abu Jandal and had been tortured severely for the cause of Allah. Umar bin al-Khattab said, I went to the Prophet Muhammad and said, are not you truly the apostle of Allah? The Prophet Muhammad said, yes, indeed. I said, isn't our cause just and the cause of the enemy unjust? He said, yes. I said, then why should we be humble in our religion? He said, I am Allah's apostle, Prophet Muhammad and I do not disobey him, and he will make me victorious. I said, didn't you tell us that we would go to the Kaaba and perform tawaf around it? He said, yes, but did I tell you that we would visit the Kaaba this year? I said, no. He said, so you will visit it and perform tawaf around it. Umar Razillahu Ta'ala Anhu further said, I went to Abu Bakr Razillahu Ta'ala Anhu and said, O Abu Bakr Razillahu Ta'ala Anhu, isn't he truly Allah's apostle, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Ta'ala Wasallam? He replied, yes. I said, then why should we be humble in our religion? He said, indeed, he is Allah's apostle and he does not disobey his Lord, and he will make him victorious. Adhere to him, as by Allah he is on the right. And I said, was he not telling us that we would go to the Kaaba and perform tawaf around it? He said, yes, but did not he tell you that you would go to the Kaaba this year? I said, no. He said, you will go to the Kaaba and perform tawaf around it. As Zuhri said, Umar Razillahu Ta'ala Anhu said, I performed many good deeds as expiation for the improper question and asked them. When the writing of the peace treaty was concluded, Allah's apostle Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Ta'ala Wasallam said to his companions, get up and slaughter your sacrifices and get your heads shaved. By Allah, none of them got up, and the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Ta'ala Wasallam repeated his order thrice. When none of them got up, he left them and went to Salma and told her of the people's attitudes towards him. Salma said, O the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala wasallam of Allah, do you want your order to be carried out? Go out and don't say a word to anybody till you have slaughtered your sacrifice and call your barber to shave your head. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala wasallam went out and did not talk to any one of them till he did that, slaughtered the sacrifice, and called his barber, who shaved his head. Seeing that, the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala wasallam got up, slaughtered their sacrifices, and started shaving the heads of one another. And there was so much rush that there was a danger of killing each other. Then some believing women came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, and Allah revealed the following divine verses: O you who believe, when the believing women come to you as emigrants, examine them. Umar Razillahu Ta'ala Anhu then divorced two wives of his who were infidels. Later on, Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan married one of them, and Safwan bin Umayyah married the other. When the Prophet Muhammad returned to Medina, Abu Basir, a new Muslim convert from Quraysh, came to him. The infidels sent it to his persuade to men who said to the Prophet Muhammad abide by the promise you gave us. So the Prophet handed him over to them. They took him out of the city till they reached Dhul Hulayfa, where they dismounted to eat some dates they had with palm. Abu Basir said to one of them, by Allah, O so and so, I see you have a fine sword. The other drew it out of the scabbard and said, by Allah, it is very fine, and I have tried it many times. Abu Basir said, let me have a look at it. When the other gave it to him, he hit him with it till he died, and his companions ran away till he came to Medina and entered the mosque running. When Allah's apostle saw him, he said, this man appears to have been frightened. When he reached the Prophet Muhammad he said, my companions has been murdered, and I would have been murdered too. Abu Basir came and said, O Allah's apostle, by Allah, Allah has made you fulfill your obligation by your returning me to them, the infidels, but Allah has saved me from them. The Prophet Muhammad said, woe to this mother, what excellent was kindler he would be, should he only have supporters. When Abu Basir heard that, he understood that the Prophet Muhammad would return him to them again, so he set off till he reached the seahorse. Abu Jandal bin Suhail got himself released from them infidels and joined Abu Basir. So whenever a man from Quraysh embraced Islam, he would follow Abu Basir till they formed a strong group. By Allah, whenever they heard about a caravan of Quraysh heading towards Sham, they stopped it and attacked and killed them, infidels, and took their properties. The people of Quraysh sent a message to the Prophet Muhammad requesting him for the sake of Allah and kith and kin to send for Abu Basir and his companions, promising that whoever amongst them came to the Prophet Muhammad would be secure. So the Prophet Muhammad sent for them Abu Basir's companions, and Allah I revealed the following divine verses, and it is He who has withheld their hands from you and your hands from them in the midst of Makkah after He made you the victorious over them. The unbelievers had pride and haughtiness in their hearts, the pride and haughtiness of the time of ignorance, and their pride and haughtiness was that they did not confess right in the treaty that he, Muhammad was the prophet of Allah, and refused to write in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, and the mushriks prevented them, the Muslims, from visiting the house, the Kaaba. Sahih Bukhari, Hadees number 2731.